Well, we return today, but is it for the final time in this save? We're looking for a job after wrapping up our season review with Dinamo Zagreb, and today we're going to spend most of the time in the job centre and determining whether there's a suitable club to take us forward for one more challenge or whether it will be the end of the save. You guys can get involved in the comments, let me know what jobs, if any, I should take. But today, let's go and see what's available and wrap up our time at Dinamo Zagreb. Yes, hello, and welcome along to part 49 of the Coach's Head with me, Daniel. We are back today with Dinamo Zagreb, having finished off our season in charge. In the end, it was a bit of a frustrating one because despite an exciting European run, we went out in a Croatian Cup semi-final and stuttered towards the end of the season. And while largely in the last few games we did find a bit of form, albeit we still threw in a stupid defeat, which we tend to once a month, and some of the young stars like Butarak did come to the fore, there isn't really much more for us to achieve here. And after jobs like Copenhagen and this one, I want to go back to one where we're going to have a bit of a challenge to get a club back to where it belongs. Because those two, yes, they dropped off a bit, but they were one of two or three contenders that could win a title. Whereas when you saw us at Willem 2, for example, we were having to build up and fight with some other really big boys. And that's what we want to do here. So we're going to have a quick look through the end of season messages at Dinamo, just round off our time. Then we're going to get through to the job centre, see if there's a suitable job. We know there's a few things we can't do. German league and other leagues with B teams that play in the actual pyramid is a problem. We also know that there's problems with the negative transfer budget model, which particularly affects the Netherlands and Belgium. So we're going to have to be quite cautious with it. But first, let's worry about Dinamo Zagreb. The supporter profile update, apparently we've made the club worse despite winning the league and getting to a European quarter final. Apparently we're now less reputable. Not quite sure how that works. They're very disappointed we didn't sign under 23s, but we're not in charge of transfers, so we can't be culpable for that. We did do everything else pretty well, and now they expect to win the league every year. That's pretty much the legacy of what I've done. I've taken them back to the top, and everything else is pretty positive. We coped well with injuries this year. Lots of injuries to first team players, and we got the club back to the top of the league table, which ultimately was what we were supposed to do. Now, though, we move on to what may be a final challenge. Can we get a job that is suitable to us that isn't in one of those leagues where there's difficulties? And can we get a job that excites us for the last chance in this save? If not, it will probably be the end of the story. I have applied for a couple, though, and I'm sure there'll be more popping up in the next few weeks. So I'm going to take you on a journey with me, and you can tell me when you think I should get a job. There is one that's just popped up in the Greek Super League, and it's a team that has finished third against the odds, above Panathinaikos. Aren't one of the biggest sides, but might be a club a bit like Willem 2 that could build. I was going to say, but their media predictions first. Right, hang on a minute. What's happened here? There's got to have been a takeover. There's no way. Yeah, they won it 2 years ago. Oh, no, they were runners-up. They've not won it yet. But the last 3 or 4 years, they've been right at the top. They must have had a big takeover. Yeah, Tycoon 2024. Stadium capacity increased, youth facilities, training facilities again. Yeah, so that's not the job we want because that's a club that is going to be dominant again once it gets to the top level and is paying massive money. So maybe not as exciting as it looked at first, that one. But I have applied for two. Let me show you them because they're both clubs who have had not just slight drop-offs, but have had terrible years in pretty strong leagues. Those two teams are Sporting Lisbon, who have finished sixth in the Portuguese Super League. They are a million miles behind the top sides. Benfica on 86, even Porto on 68 in third. Sporting Lisbon are sixth. They're a mile off it. If we have a look at their recent history, they've not been champions for a long time. And while they did get second a year and a half ago, prior to that, it had basically been fifth and fourth the whole way along after dropping from third in the early years. So Sporting Lisbon, a club that potentially needs a little bit of help to get back to the top level. It is a bit of a worry for me, though, that they're a nation where there is a B League, there's an official B team, and I worry if we'd encounter a problem there. The thing that's perhaps making me feel a bit better about it is particularly compared to like Bayern Munich, they've got an enormous squad. So I'm not sure that they'll have the same problem there. And there would also be one correlation with Bayern Munich from the head coach, which is John Hervenhoff has ended up at Sporting Lisbon in this save. So that's one I'm really considering because there's a couple of experienced heads coming towards the end and there's a lot of young players breaking through. That save could be an interesting one. I like to see, could I take Sporting Lisbon back near the top? That I think is an exciting challenge. The other one is a team doing even worse domestically, which is Slavia Prague. They finished 8th in the Czech top tier, and I'm not quite sure how they've fallen off so badly. The difference with them, they were champions in the early years of the save. Then they've been a bit weird since. They had a third, a fourth, a second, an 11th, a second, and now an 8th. Inconsistency seems to be the flavour of the month for them. They have got a few very good young players, but they've got an ageing squad generally. It is another B team league, which does worry me yet again. And I wonder if that's the reason that they've got a squad that's not getting that regeneration and that turnover. But again, it's another big side that's struggling away. So I feel like there is an opportunity to maybe give the B team league one more try, just in case it's not it. Because at Sporting in particular, it looks to be a massive squad. But they are two jobs that excite me, a chance to genuinely bring a club back up. I think the Sporting one is more appealing to me because they haven't won a league at all. They haven't really been close to it. And they're such a long way off the big boys. Whereas Slavia Prague is sort of the job that we might be able to get if Sporting turn us down. At the moment, there's not a lot else, of course. I mentioned to you that I would consider returning to Willem 2 if that popped up. I also would consider a move to Italy if we could find that sort of second tier of clubs behind the regular champions. But again, doesn't look like that opportunity's there yet. So we're going to keep waiting. We'll see if any job offers or job interviews come along and whether many more opportunities arise. I'll keep you updated as we do so. But for now, they're the two I've applied for. Hopefully, this summer we'll find us a new job because I don't want to end the save when I could go to Sporting Lisbon. Well, it didn't take long, did it? Just a couple of days later, and we've got our first job interview offer, and it is one of the two we talked about. Probably our second choice for now, but lovely to have an opportunity. Slavia Prague have offered us an interview. I'm certainly glad you've given me the chance to get down to business. How would you overcome the obstacle of not speaking a language? I'll be able to pick bits up, don't you worry about that. We've never managed in this country, but we've got experience in loads, so give me a break on that front. And I'm ready to settle down in one place. Hopefully, I can rebuild you. With your team on course to finish as expected in the league, are you perhaps taking advantage of moving while your stock is high? We're built to last. This isn't a short-term thing. How dare you? What a rude question to ask. You've developed a reputation for applying for other jobs while still employed. I'll feel it's acceptable. I've been in management a long time. I'm doing whatever I can to keep progressing. Very much the exception. Always about losing the backing of your players publicly. We've had no problems here. We had no problems at Copenhagen. It's a constant question. Please, next year, just don't let this question be in every interview when you haven't had a problem for about 6-7 years. I'm happy to take charge immediately. The season's already finished. We understand the importance of having a right backroom team. No, we're not in charge of transfer staffing or contracts. We don't need a budget to do that. Or culture. Sign players based in Czechia. Play direct football. Make the most of set pieces. They want me to be Big Sam. Sign players under 23. Stay as the most reputable club despite not winning a league for years. Grow the club's reputation. Work towards winning the first division. I'm happy with that. And there's no expectations. Nothing else for now. Will we get a chance at Sporting Lisbon or Slavia Prague? The one that we're going to have. The opportunity has not changed our odds for the job, so I guess we'll just wait and see. Yes, I have attended. It's nothing to do with me. In fact, no, I don't have any comments to make at this time. Stop trying to get a headline out of me. Let's see if there's any other jobs that have popped up in the last few days. Oh, we've got one in Italy, but it's not the one I wanted. See, if Parma had just survived, I would have gone there. But they've been relegated from Serie A, and I feel like going to Serie B would maybe push it a little too far. And to be fair, we'd probably then come back up, which means I'd be successful again, which is not what I just want. They've also got a very old Ampadu and Somerville there, at 32 and 31 respectively. Adam Idar's in that squad. It's a strange old squad, isn't it? Let's have a look at the Inter job then, because that's an assistant manager. They were up here, weren't they? Inter Milan finished third in Serie A. How have they been doing recently? They won it the year before. See, I know it's a competitive league, but I just feel that we'd end up winning it quite quickly. It's something that does worry me. I don't think we get a job that big anyway, based on our recent seasons, but they're not. I want somewhere in between that. Maybe like a team that's finished seventh or eighth, like an Atalanta or Roma there in eighth and ninth. They'd be the sort of jobs I'd be looking for. As it is, I think we're just sticking with the two we've applied for. We'll wait to see if there's any more news. Hopefully, Sporting Lisbon will follow with an interview. Well, we have an opportunity regardless here because Slavia Prague have offered us a job. So we're obviously going to delay it for a week first, but we've got an opportunity that I think I want to accept because this is a Slavia Prague team that has some good young players, but also has a fair few going over the hill. And being a B team league, I just want to see if that issue is persistent elsewhere as well. I was having a little look at their transfer work, and it looks like there are a fair number of ins and outs each year. It doesn't appear that there are any problems there, and hopefully that won't be the case with the director of football in charge. So, a job that I'd be willing to take to try and take them back to the top. But initially, I still want that chance with Sporting Lisbon. So we'll give them another week to offer us an interview. It looks like they want Albert Riera instead of me. With that in mind, our final stop in this save may end up being the Czech Republic. Back in a week to find out. Well, here we are again. We've delayed now for 2 weeks from Slavia Prague. We've got to, I think, the final time we can get away with either accepting or rejecting this offer. And I need your advice because we've not even had a wiggle out of Sporting Lisbon. The odds haven't really changed. He's gone out very, very slightly as Albert Riera, but there's no real sign of change there, to be honest. He's still the favourite. As Slavia Prague, we have been offered the job. We were offered an interview immediately. They're a side that have finished 8th. They have not won a title since 2027. Have they been doing much else? Let's go and have a look at their history and their competitions. So they won a league in 27. They haven't won a cup since 26. They've only had 2 top 3 finishes in the last 6 years. And they've not done anything in Europe. So with a squad that's aging a bit, you can see from their squad there's a few that are out of contract this year. There is an opportunity for us to maybe build a younger side and maybe start to rebuild. And it's a side that expects to compete at the top, despite not showing much evidence of doing it. So I feel like as a last challenge, it might be worthwhile. Let me know what you would do in this situation. Would you reject this and then just hope that Sporting Lisbon come along? And if not, say, well, that's it. We're not going to do anything. Or would you try and take the Slavia Prague job and rebuild them up to the top? Because it's very clear, looking at that league, that they're not anywhere near it at the minute. They weren't even in the top half this time around. Sparta Prague were on 53 at the split, 11 ahead. And then in the championship group, Sparta Prague got 66 points from those extra 5 games. So it's going to be one hell of a challenge to get back up there. It is a league that's pretty reputable, but are we going to be able to win a first title in 7 years? I think that's the question. Is it enough of a challenge? And should we take the job? Let me know what you would do down in the comment section. Slavia Prague, yes or no? Do we say, no, we're going to wait and it will be Sporting or no one? Or do we hope that something else pops up? It's not a year of a major finals like a Euros or a World Cup, so I'm not expecting there to be lots of jobs that come up as people take international jobs and whatever else. It does look like that's about it. So let me know in the comments, do you think Slavia Prague, yes or no? And if enough of you want to see it, or if over the next couple of days I convince myself that it's the right move, I think we're going to do it and have one last blast in the Czech Republic, because it is the sort of thing that could be a couple of years rebuild with a different type of football and try and get him back up into that top 2. So let me know down in the comments if you enjoyed this one. A little look at the summer after our time at Dinamo Zagreb, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Will we be managing in the Czech Republic next time out? If you want to stay up to date and find out the answer, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. In the meantime, we've got plenty of action from our long-term story with Southend in England. You can find that one in the eye above. It's been an eventful old week in that save. There's also links to the Twitch channel for regular live streams and a football podcast where we're back this week with championship predictions too. The international break's finally over. We're delighted about that. And I'll see you back here next time as we make our decision as to whether we have one more job in this coach's head save.